Hello. I actually did this. I did this video a week ago, but then I didn't put it on because I suddenly realised I didn't know much of what I was talking about. I do know. Oh, well, bloody cats underneath us again. I do know what Garry Lineker more or less has said. He's compared our asylum seeking and immigration affairs to say that bloody fair. To 1930s Germany, and I was about to say I disagreed with him, but then I didn't realise what our current asylum laws were, and I didn't know what 1930s asylum seeking laws were either. And then the week got away with us. Now, the reason I leapt into premature action was because as much as I either disagree or agree with Garry Lineker, and I mean at the end of the day, he's a football pundit. You just shouldn't really be taking what he says too seriously unless it involves somebody kicking a ball. He shouldn't have lost his job over it, and not lost. He shouldn't have been suspended. And it is interesting to see what happens when you threaten a man with something you can't hold over his head, because he's probably doing that because he enjoys it, and it's a little something on the weekend to get him out the house, because I highly doubt he's got to work. So when you say if you don't, it's a very different thing, I notice, when you say to a man, you can't work unless you agree with us, and he turns around and says, do you know what, I don't have to work for you, my lad. So it's interesting to see what happens when you threaten somebody when you have nothing to hold over their head, and how easily it can blow up when his mates, who you also have nothing you can hold over their heads, suddenly decide they're on his side. Now, I was initially going to disagree with Garry Lineker, but I've decided I don't know enough of the subject to make an informed opinion, because yes, there is a lot of stuff happen. Oh my God, I'm very sorry. It's early, it's Sunday early. The cat's kicking up a height. I've just got out of bed, all that lark, but Sally ho, because if I don't do this now, I'm never going to get it done. Right, where was I? Yes. So anyway, yeah, I know there are ne'er-do-wells on those boats. I know that a lot of them are there for their own reasons. I know a few of them very well might be there for terrorist reasons, we'll see. I mean, I don't know, but it's a possibility. So I can understand why something's got to be done about the boats, but to say we can't accept asylum seekers, well, I'm just gonna have to look into that separately. But the fact of the matter is Garry Lineker spoke on Twitter. He didn't suddenly drop it into a football commentary. He said it on Twitter, on his own personal Twitter feed, what he thought of something, and they tried to threaten him with his job over it. That's cancelling. In any metric, that's what people call cancelling. And the BBC was full of, he needs to be politically neutral. But as my friend pointed out, they didn't do any of this when he was critical of Jeremy Corbyn. For the Americans amongst us, that was the Labour leader, the left leader, the leader of the opposition. And they had nothing to say when he was critical of Jeremy Corbyn, but he's just said he didn't quite like a single law that the Conservatives, the Tories, brought out. And all of a sudden, they're saying if you do that again, you've lost your job. And more power to him that he has actually said, right, you do your worst, son, we'll see what happens. And I do believe they've rescinded it. They've backpedaled faster than the Pink Panther and backpedaling from something. I don't know where that came from. I'm sure we did it once in a cartoon. I don't know where that came from. Yeah. I was watching the Pink Panther cartoon this morning. I'm sorry, I'm half asleep here. I'm turning to Count Dankula. In fact, I am Count Dankula. I put a beard on and then just paint some tattoos on. This is me. This is me fifth channel. I'm not really. Anyway, so I will look into the asylum laws. I will give myself, I'm going to say, an hour to look into the asylum laws and make a judgment of them. But I will say one thing that I didn't think of and that my friend pointed out, which I think is very pertinent, is that as much as asylum seekers are an issue, I'm not going to say a problem, because they're something that needs to be dealt with as best as possible, as best for them as well as for us. But it is a minor issue. It is a very minor issue. You see you're getting thousands and stuff. There's millions of people in England. They're not costing the government that much. The issues in England are the incredible cost of living rises. The fact that, like, from the beginning of the year, I've spent over £300 not barely heating my house. We're not talking about I've had it on 21 Celsius all day. We're talking about I've put it on 16 degrees Celsius and I've sat under blankets and it's still costing us £200 a month to heat my house. That's an issue. The fact that the roads look like the Rocky Mountains. My car's on the way out. I'm going to have to buy a four-wheeler or something like that, which I can't afford. That's an issue. The fact that the civil service of England, and you can say all you want about this taxman and the civil service, no, we don't do a great deal of work, They're going to have to give us a pay rise this year or we will be below minimum wage. And that, as much as you hate it, is a semi-skilled job. When I started, that job was twice the minimum wage. Now it's below the minimum wage. That is an issue, at least for the civil service. Okay, probably shouldn't have mentioned that. Never mind. The railway is on strike. That's an issue. The nurses are on strike. The doctors are on strike. The teachers are on strike. They're the issues. So a couple of hundred people coming across the fucking channel in a boat, that shouldn't be a headline. And that is what's happening at the minute. It is the least offensive thing that is happening at the minute. Oh yeah, fair enough, there'll be some fucking wrong-uns on the boats. And yes, I know there was a certain element of danger there. But it's costing the taxpayer far less than the bullshit that's went on. That's meaning that it's costing like 3 times as much to heat our houses. So when stuff like this comes out, they did this in America, I believe. There was something going on, something important. I can't remember what it was. Why I cannot remember what it was is because I didn't read the news too much at the time. Bloody cat. And 2, they decided to start an argument about can transsexuals use the toilets of their preferred gender. Stop that, you. She's chewing things. So, anyway, this is another daft video done in haste. I do apologise. I will do a slightly more comprehensive video when I've got the chance, and I hope Garry Lineker is alright, as well as the 2 asylum seekers he's got in his house. Them bastards landed on their feet, didn't they? Have a good Sunday.